The pyramids rise like eternal riddles against the Egyptian sky. Massive stones, some weighing more than 70 tons, stacked with precision so perfect that even modern engineers struggle to explain it. For centuries, we've been told they were tombs, monuments to kings long gone. But what if that's only part of the story? What if the pyramids were not just symbols of power, but machines of power, whispers of hidden chambers, mysterious energy fields, and alignments so exact they map the stars with uncanny precision? All suggest the ancients may have understood more than we give them credit for. In this episode of Neuronaps, we step into the shadow of the pyramids, not with the eyes of a tourist, but with the mind of a scientist. We'll explore the physics, the engineering, and the possibilities that the Great Pyramid was more than a monument, that it may have been a kind of ancient machine, designed not for the dead, but for the living. So tonight, as the sands of Giza glow under the moon, we ask, were the ancients smarter than we think? And if so, what power did they unlock that we've since forgotten? Pyramids, power plants, and physics? Was ancient engineering smarter than we think? The silent giants of stone. The desert at night is a place of stillness, a silence so complete that it feels eternal. The stars above stretch endlessly, cold fires in the sky, watching as they have for millennia. Beneath them, three shapes rise from the sands, massive and angular, their silhouettes so precise they seem unnatural against the natural horizon. The Pyramids of Giza. To the casual traveler, they are monuments. To the historian, they are tombs. To the tourist, they are wonders. But to the scientist who lingers in their shadow, they may be something else entirely. Imagine standing at the base of the Great Pyramid. Its ancient limestone casing, long stripped away, once shone bright white under the Egyptian sun, a beacon visible for miles. In its prime, it would have gleamed like a star on earth, reflecting light back into the sky. Even now, in ruin, it towers with such authority that it defies comprehension. 2 million blocks, some weighing more than 70 tons, perfectly aligned, locked in place with a precision that even modern engineers struggle to replicate. The desert wind whispers across its edges, and for a fleeting moment, you might hear it, an echo, almost like a hum. Scientists today have measured that the chambers within the pyramid vibrate, resonate, even amplify sound at specific frequencies. Was that accidental, or could the builders have known? It is here, in this quiet, where the story begins, not with kings or mummies, not with death, but with life, with energy, with purpose, because the Great Pyramid of Giza may not have been a tomb at all. Some believe it was a machine, a power plant, a structure designed not to hold the dead, but to fuel the living. The silence of the desert is deceptive. The pyramid is not silent, it is waiting. Stones that shouldn't move. Step closer, and the illusion of simplicity fades. Each stone is enormous, stacked in careful courses that rise toward the heavens. The scale is overwhelming, but the true mystery is not just in their number, it is in their movement. 70-ton granite beams crown the king's chamber. They were hauled from Aswan nearly 500 miles away. Imagine the logistics. Even today, with cranes, trucks, and steel, such a task would be staggering. Yet thousands of years ago, men with copper chisels and rope are said to have managed it. Does that explanation truly satisfy? The Egyptians left behind art, writing, and symbols that documented their lives in detail. They wrote about gods and crops, about daily work and spiritual beliefs. But nowhere do they explain how such feats of engineering were achieved. The silence is louder than words. Physics offers possibilities. Granite is piezoelectric, capable of generating electric charge under pressure. Could the movement of stone, the vibration of thousands of tons under stress, have been part of the pyramid's design? Was hauling and placing these blocks not merely construction, but calibration? And then the alignment. North, south, east, west. So precise that a compass would envy it. The pyramid doesn't drift, doesn't falter. To place a structure of this scale with such accuracy required more than brute force. It required astronomy, mathematics, precision tools, the kind we only began to perfect in recent centuries. Some researchers propose that the stones themselves mattered less than their arrangement, that the pyramid was tuned like an instrument. Each block, each chamber, each passageway, a component in a vast machine, a machine that might have harnessed forces from the earth, the sky, even the stars. Yet to accept this, we must ask, did the ancients truly understand physics at this level? Or have we underestimated the sophistication of their minds? The stones sit silent now, immovable, heavy with mystery. But once, perhaps, they hummed with power. The chamber that listens. Inside the Great Pyramid, the air is different. It is cooler, heavier, and carries a sense of something ancient pressing down. Visitors often describe a weight on their chest, as though the stones themselves are aware of your presence. The corridors are narrow, claustrophobic, carved with an almost obsessive geometry. And at the heart of it all lies the king's chamber. The chamber itself is simple in appearance. Its walls are built from massive granite slabs, polished, fitted without mortar, seamless to the eye and touch. Yet when you speak, or even whisper inside, the sound does not behave as you expect. The room hums, amplifies, echoes in strange ways. It responds. It listens. Modern acoustical studies confirm what ancient travelers reported. The chamber resonates at frequencies that are anything but random. Certain tones amplify dramatically, while others are swallowed into silence. This is not the result of chance. To produce such resonance requires calculation, precision, knowledge of how sound waves behave in confined space. Now imagine granite, a piezoelectric material, vibrating under sound. Each note, each frequency, would send a faint electrical response into the stone. And what if the builders knew this? What if the chamber was not a tomb at all, but a resonator, a core component of a vast energy system? Consider water. Beneath the pyramid lies the Nile, once coursing with far greater force than today. Channels and shafts within the structure connect downward, some appearing to serve no architectural purpose. Could flowing water have created vibrations, pressure, resonance? A natural generator feeding energy into the pyramid, amplified by sound? The king's chamber would then become more than stone. It would become a battery, or perhaps even a reactor. Not in the modern nuclear sense, but in the ancient understanding of Earth's own forces: water, sound, vibration, and stone working together in harmony. Skeptics dismiss such theories as fantasy. They argue the chamber is simply symbolic, a place of ritual, a final resting place for kings. But if that were true, why build it with such physics in mind? Why tune it so carefully that even today we can measure its harmonics with laser equipment? The chamber listens. It always has. But the question is, what did it hear in its prime? Was it the chanting of priests, guiding energy through voice? Was it the roar of water rushing below, transformed into power? Or was it something greater, something we no longer understand? In the silence of the king's chamber you feel it, a vibration in your bones. The pyramid speaks, not in words, but in frequencies, and the body, like the stone, responds. The electric stone. Granite is more than stone. It is an electrical material, a hidden conductor disguised in the body of the earth. When subjected to stress or vibration, it releases charge. This property, piezoelectricity, was only identified in the 19th century, but the effect has always been there, waiting. Now picture millions of tons of granite stacked in precise patterns, their weight pressing, their surfaces vibrating. Every shift, every resonance in the chamber would ripple faint currents through the blocks. Not much individually, but together, amplified, concentrated, could they produce something usable? Some researchers argue yes. They suggest the Great Pyramid may have functioned as a massive harmonic resonator, channeling Earth's energy through its own structure. The arrangement of limestone casing stones, once polished and conductive, could have directed that charge outward, like an antenna. The entire pyramid, then, was less a tomb and more a machine of stone and physics. If that seems unbelievable, recall the Baghdad battery, clay jars from 2,000 years ago that may have stored electric charge. If simple clay could hold power, could the Egyptians have gone further, creating not a jar, but a generator? Legends from antiquity speak of the pyramids glowing, shining at night, emitting beams of light. Myths, say the scholars. But myths often grow from seeds of truth. Could faint luminescence, perhaps static discharge or corona effect from charged stone, have inspired such tales? We live in an age of electricity. Our world hums with it, from the smallest device to the largest grid. But what if the ancients, in their own way, discovered how to tap the same invisible force, without copper wires, without turbines, simply by shaping Earth's materials in colossal form? The Great Pyramid stands as proof not of what they wrote, but of what they built, and in that silence of stone, it may still hum with an energy we have yet to measure. the river beneath the stone. No machine, however clever, runs without fuel. If the pyramid was an energy system, then where was its source? The answer may lie beneath the sands, in the restless waters of the Nile. Thousands of years ago, the river was not as it is now. Its floods were greater, its channels wilder, coursing close to the plateau at Giza. Beneath the pyramid lies evidence of subterranean passages, shafts that descend into bedrock, some ending in flooded chambers. Why build so far down, into darkness, into water? Hydrologists suggest an answer: water pressure. As the Nile surged, water would rise and fall within these hidden chambers, creating pulses, vibrations, movement. Like a natural pump, it would drive resonance upward through the structure. Now combine this with granite's piezoelectricity, with the resonant chambers tuned to amplify sound and vibration. The picture forms: water feeding motion, motion feeding stone, stone feeding charge. A cycle, simple in principle, profound in design. The ancients may not have spoken of physics or engineering as we do, but they lived close to nature. They observed, they experimented, and they may have discovered that water itself was a key, not only to agriculture and life, but to energy. The Great Pyramid, then, was not isolated. It was alive with the river, a partnership between stone and flow. An ancient hydroelectric system, cloaked in mystery, hiding in plain sight. And if that were true, the pyramid was never just a monument. It was a beacon, a power plant carved into eternity. The shafts that point to the stars. Hidden within the Great Pyramid are narrow shafts, so precise that their angles defy coincidence. Some lead nowhere, others pierce upward, pointing with uncanny accuracy to stars: Sirius, Orion's belt, Polaris. Archaeologists call them air shafts, yet no body ever lay in the so-called King's Chamber, and these shafts are too small for ventilation, too deliberate to be random. So why were they carved with such painstaking precision? To understand, you must see the pyramid not as stone, but as a bridge, a structure that connects Earth to the heavens, the physical to the cosmic. In physics, alignment matters. Antennas point, telescopes align, resonance requires direction. The builders may have known this. Some researchers suggest the shafts acted like waveguides, channels for energy, not of air, but of sound or even electromagnetic fields. In modern science, waveguides control the flow of radiation, like tunnels steering light or microwaves. Could the ancients have discovered a similar principle? Others believe the star alignment was symbolic, connecting the pharaoh's spirit to the afterlife. But symbolism does not explain the engineering effort. Why cut such narrow, angled tunnels through solid stone, with no margin for error, unless they served a function? The shafts are silent now, their purpose obscured. Yet when you stand before them, you feel the precision, the intention. They are not random. They are aimed at the stars above, or perhaps at forces we have yet to rediscover. The casing stones and the missing skin. The Great Pyramid looks rough today, its outer layers stripped by centuries of scavenging, but once it gleamed. Its casing stones, made of Tura limestone, were polished to mirror finish, reflecting sunlight so intensely that ancient texts describe the pyramid as a dazzling beacon. This polish was not only aesthetic. Limestone, especially of this purity, is an insulator. It can trap, focus, and direct energy. And when layered upon the granite core, it forms a two-material system: conductor and insulator. Exactly the kind of arrangement engineers use today in capacitors, transformers, and power systems. Imagine the pyramid not as bare stone, but as a gleaming white prism reflecting light by day, storing energy by night. The casing stones, fitted with such precision that even a knife could not slip between them, may have sealed the structure, preventing leakage, not of air, but of energy. When an earthquake struck Cairo in 1303 AD, much of this skin was shaken loose. Local rulers carted it away to build mosques and palaces, stripping the pyramid of its protective shell. What we see now is not the pyramid as it was, but the skeleton. The question lingers: what was lost when that casing disappeared? Did the pyramid's true function die with its skin, leaving behind only a husk of stone? Or does it still hum faintly, waiting, though incomplete, for someone to rediscover its secret? The hidden cavities. In 2017, cosmic ray scans revealed vast hidden voids inside the Great Pyramid, chambers never seen before, not cracks, not accidents, deliberate spaces. Historians say they lighten the structure, but physicists know. Cavities resonate. Like a violin's body or an organ's pipes, they amplify vibration. They tune energy. Could these secret chambers be part of the pyramid's design? A hidden system for resonance with Earth, water, even the cosmos? For millennia, we thought the pyramid was solid, mute, eternal. Now we know it has lungs, and what it breathes may be the greatest mystery of all. The myth of the tomb. For centuries, Egyptologists insisted the pyramids were tombs. Yet no mummy has ever been found in the Great Pyramid. No hieroglyphs line its walls, no funerary texts, no treasures of the dead. Instead, what we find are empty chambers, resonant passages, and complex engineering with no clear explanation. Contrast this with the Valley of the Kings, where actual tombs exist, painted walls, sealed sarcophagi, funerary goods. These are tombs, and they are nothing like the Great Pyramid. So why cling to the tomb theory? Perhaps because the alternative is too disruptive. To admit the pyramid may have served another purpose is to admit our history is incomplete, that ancient engineers were not merely builders, but scientists. What if the pyramid was never meant to hold the dead, but to sustain the living? A machine that harnessed Earth's forces to light cities, irrigate fields, or power technologies we no longer recognize. The myth of the tomb endures because it is safe, but the silence inside the pyramid speaks a different truth. The pyramid as a machine. When you gather the evidence, the resonant chambers, the piezoelectric granite, the insulating limestone, the water channels, the hidden cavities, a picture begins to form. Not a tomb, not a monument, but a system. Think of Nikola Tesla, who envisioned towers that could broadcast power wirelessly, harnessing the earth itself as a conductor. His designs echo eerily with the pyramid's form. Tall, broad-based, tapering upward, grounded in earth yet reaching to sky. The Great Pyramid may have been Tesla's tower of antiquity, a machine that captured natural forces, water, sound, vibration, cosmic radiation, and focused them into usable energy. Was it electrical, hydrodynamic, something stranger still? We may never know fully. But one truth emerges. The pyramid was not built blindly. It was engineered with a purpose that transcends mere burial. And as the sands shift around its base, as the stars continue their endless march above, the pyramid remains. Silent, yes, but perhaps still waiting. The echo of Tesla. The year is 1899. Nikola Tesla stands in Colorado Springs, lightning dancing across the sky as he tests his massive experimental tower. Sparks leap into the air, energy hums through the earth, and lamps glow miles away, without wires. Tesla believes the planet itself can conduct power, that if tuned properly, the earth can become a vast generator. Now rewind the clock 4,000 years and shift the scene to Giza. A towering structure rises, broad at its base, narrow at its peak. Inside, chambers resonate, stones hum, shafts align to cosmic points. It is not wood and copper as Tesla used, but granite and limestone. Yet the principle feels eerily familiar. Could the ancients have stumbled upon what Tesla rediscovered? Could the pyramid have been Earth's first power plant, Tesla's tower in stone? Tesla's dream was never realized. His tower was dismantled, his funding cut. But perhaps his failure was only modern. Perhaps the ancients succeeded long before, their technology disguised as myth, their tower still standing in the desert, silent yet enduring. The echo of Tesla whispers, energy was never invented, only discovered, again and again, by those who listen to the earth. The pyramid and the Earth's pulse. Every planet has a heartbeat. Scientists call it the Schumann resonance, a natural frequency of around 7.83 Hz, created by lightning storms resonating within Earth's atmosphere. Sensitive instruments pick it up like a global hum, a whisper of the planet itself. What if the pyramid was tuned to this heartbeat? Studies suggest the king's chamber resonates near the same frequency range. The walls, floor, and ceiling create standing waves that amplify vibrations remarkably close to Earth's natural rhythm. Was this an accident or calibration? If the pyramid tapped into the Schumann resonance, it could have functioned as a massive receiver, drawing subtle energy from the planet's pulse. Some researchers believe exposure to this frequency has biological effects, calming the mind, synchronizing brainwaves, even enhancing healing. Imagine then the pyramid not just as a power plant, but as a tuning fork for humanity itself, a machine that aligned man with Earth, synchronizing body and planet through resonance. Myth and science blur. Was this why the ancients spoke of pyramids as places of ascension, of transformation? Was it mysticism or physics beyond our grasp? The earth hums still, and perhaps the pyramids, silent now, once hummed in harmony. Fire in the stone. Legends tell of pyramids that shone with light, their tips glowing, casting beams into the sky. Herodotus spoke of fire inside them. Medieval travelers described glowing crowns at night. To scholars, these are exaggerations. But electricity does strange things when mass and resonance combine. Imagine a structure vibrating with piezoelectric charge, limestone casing trapping the current, and a golden capstone, now missing, acting as a conductor. What would happen at its peak? Static discharge, corona effects, sparks leaping from stone into air. A faint glow, visible at night, like St. Elmo's fire that dances on ships' masts during storms. The Great Pyramid once bore such a capstone, likely of gold or electrum, now vanished. If the pyramid functioned as a machine, this capstone may have been its key, the final piece in the circuit, the crown of energy. To the ancients, it may have looked like divine fire, a beacon to gods. To us, it looks like electricity, born not of wires, but of stone and sky. The fire in the stone may have been real, and perhaps, if restored, it would glow again. The network of pyramids. The Great Pyramid is not alone. Across Egypt, and indeed across the world, pyramids rise from the earth. At Saqqara, the Step Pyramid. At Dashur, the Bent and Red Pyramids. At Teotihuacan in Mexico, massive pyramids of sun and moon. In China, vast earthen pyramids buried in forests. Why do civilizations separated by oceans and centuries converge on the same shape? Coincidence or shared knowledge of something deeper? From a physics perspective, pyramids are efficient. Their shape distributes weight evenly, resists erosion, and focuses energy. Studies suggest the pyramid form itself can concentrate electromagnetic waves, focusing them into its base and tip. Could ancient builders across the globe have discovered this property independently, or inherited it from a forgotten source? Perhaps the pyramids were not isolated monuments, but nodes in a network, each tuned to its land, its sky, its river, each humming with local resonance, feeding not just their people, but a global grid we no longer understand. What if the world's pyramids once sang together, like instruments in a cosmic orchestra? And what if their silence today is the true mystery, that something vital has been switched off? The granite battery. Step into the king's chamber, and you are swallowed by stone. Walls of pink Aswan granite rise around you, polished and precise, weighing dozens of tons each. But granite is not just stone. It's alive with quartz, a crystal known for its piezoelectric properties. In modern science, quartz vibrates to create electric charge. Your wristwatch ticks because of it. Your computer stores data with it. So why, of all materials, would the Egyptians drag hundreds of kilometers of granite into this chamber? Picture this: water flowing beneath the pyramid, vibrations traveling upward, the granite chamber filled with quartz, thrumming in sympathy, the pressure of millions of tons of stone bearing down on the crystal. Physics tells us, quartz under stress produces electricity. In other words, the king's chamber may not have been a tomb at all, but a giant battery, storing and releasing energy. The coffin inside, the granite sarcophagus, is oddly oversized, too large to fit through the corridors. It was placed there before construction was finished. Could it have been part of the machine, like a capacitor inside a circuit? Some researchers even suggest it once contained acidic liquid or conductive metals, enhancing the battery effect. Imagine standing there thousands of years ago, the granite chamber vibrating, the walls humming, quartz releasing sparks invisible to the naked eye but powerful in effect. Was this the engine room of the pyramid? If so, what were they powering? Lights, tools, or something far stranger, human consciousness itself? Ancient wiring. Official history says no wiring, no circuits, no electricity existed in ancient Egypt, yet scattered clues raise uncomfortable questions. Copper tubes buried in the sand, blackened residue clinging to chamber ceilings, as if from soot or scorching, strange drill holes and grooves etched into stone, precise beyond explanation. In some temples, there are even depictions of objects that resemble electrical components, coils, bulbs, conduits. Most famous are the Baghdad batteries, discovered far from Egypt. Clay jars with copper and iron inserts that can produce a small current when filled with vinegar. If Mesopotamia had primitive batteries, why couldn't Egypt have taken a step further? Some theorists point to traces of copper corrosion deep inside the pyramid, evidence of something metallic long since stripped away. Others note the absence of torch soot inside the corridors. How did workers illuminate their way through kilometers of pitch-black tunnels if not with fire? Perhaps the pyramids once housed conductive materials, copper wiring, gold filaments, stripped away during later centuries of looting. We may be staring at the stone skeleton of a much larger machine, its delicate components lost to time. If true, then what remains is just the casing of a forgotten technology, the husk of a once-living power plant. The Dendera Light. 100 kilometers north of Luxor, in the Temple of Hathor, lies one of Egypt's strangest mysteries, the Dendera reliefs. Carved into stone are images some interpret as giant light bulbs, oval glass-like shapes connected to thick cables, supported by what appear to be lotus bases and power cords held by priests. Egyptologists dismiss this, calling them symbolic depictions of creation myths, but to the curious eye, they look uncannily like vacuum tubes or electrical lamps. What if these were not mere metaphors, but records of an ancient experiment in illumination? Some propose that the pyramids, acting as power plants, could have fed energy to surrounding temples, where devices like the Dendera bulbs harnessed it as light. Consider the logistics. How do you decorate miles of underground tombs without blackening them with soot? The absence of torch marks suggests an alternative. Could the Egyptians have already cracked the secret of electric light, powered by their pyramid machines? The image of priests holding glowing orbs in sacred darkness feels almost cinematic. But if it was real, it would rewrite our entire history of science. The Great Pyramid, then, was not a monument to death, but a monument of light. The pyramid as a power plant. What if the Great Pyramid wasn't just a monument to eternity, but a machine designed to work with eternity itself? Imagine it not as a tomb, but as a power plant, converting natural forces into usable energy. The theory rests on three elements: water, vibration, and stone. Water from underground aquifers flowed beneath the pyramid, producing vibration. The limestone casing acted as an insulator, keeping energy trapped inside. The granite chambers, rich with quartz, vibrated under pressure, releasing electricity. Combined, this created a massive piezoelectric generator, an energy system older than history. But why? For what purpose would such energy be needed? Some suggest illumination, like the Dendera lights. Others imagine advanced tools powered by this energy, saws, drills, or machines capable of cutting and shaping the hardest stones with supernatural precision. To skeptics, it's fantasy. But the engineering logic is sound. Modern piezoelectric devices work on the same principles. We harness hydroelectricity. We use quartz to stabilize frequencies. Why not scale it up? Why not a pyramid? And then comes the bigger question. If it was a power plant, who taught the Egyptians to build it? Did they discover this themselves, or were they inheriting an older, forgotten science? The final secret. The Great Pyramid has stood for over 4,500 years, its casing stones stripped, its treasures looted, its secrets scattered. Yet it remains, silent, immovable, unbroken. Why? Because perhaps the true treasure was never gold or jewels. It was knowledge. Modern engineers still marvel at its perfection. Physicists still measure its alignments. Mystics still whisper of its energy. And in every theory, whether tomb, machine, or temple, the pyramid resists being just one thing. It is more. The final secret may not be that the pyramid once generated energy, but that it still does. Perhaps in ways we don't yet measure. Perhaps in dimensions we don't yet understand. Its geometry continues to interact with Earth's magnetic field, with the stars above, with the vibrations of human voices inside its walls. We look at the pyramids and see the past. But what if they are not relics? What if they are prophecies? structures designed to endure until we are ready to understand them. The desert does not forget, and the pyramids are still waiting. The sands of Giza whisper, but they do not answer. The pyramids rise, ancient and unyielding, daring us to decode them. Were they tombs for kings, or engines for gods? Were they monuments to the dead, or machines for the living? Perhaps the truth lies in between, a knowledge so advanced it blurred the line between science and spirit, a technology so vast it required stone mountains to contain it. So the question remains, were the pyramids the world's first power plants? Or are we only scratching the surface of an even greater secret still waiting beneath the sands? The desert is patient, the pyramids are waiting, and their mystery is far from finished. If you felt the hum of these mysteries tonight, imagine what else the ancients may have hidden in plain sight. From forgotten machines to cosmic codes, our journey has only begun. Subscribe to NeuroNaps so you don't miss the next chapter. Like this video if you believe the past holds secrets still beyond us. And share your theories below. Were the pyramids tombs, power plants, or something far stranger? The next revelation is closer than you think, and it might just change everything.